I am so glad you're with me today. I am really excited to share with you my next start of a good story. So as a lot of you guys know, I didn't have stuff on my vision board, my dream board for a while, but a couple weeks ago I started putting stuff back on my vision board and I started working on YouTube again. And then I've been renovating a travel trailer, 1988 traveling goddess is what I call her. She's going to become a traveling goddess because she is just transforming into something very beautiful. And I'm still in the process of working on that, but part of my morning ritual is that I look at this vision board and just kind of think about and remember the things that I'm working on and the things that I want to accomplish and the things that I want to do. So the other day I was looking at my dream board, and as I was looking around, I looked at that sign, that little picture right there that says podcast. And as I did, my heart just kind of like swelled a little bit, and I was like, ooh, sounds exciting to start the podcast. In the past, I hadn't felt those feelings, so I thought, okay, well, I'm just gonna sit with this for a little bit and see if I keep feeling this way, see if what comes of this. Later that day, I was working in the trailer, the 1980 Travel Goddess, fixing up the trailer. And as I am fixing up the trailer, I've been listening to one of my favorite podcasts, just listening to all of her episodes. And that podcast is The Goddess Ceremony, and I totally recommend it, especially if you're a woman. And I was listening to it, and one of her podcasts was about her number one tool in her business. She said the number one tool in her business is starting a podcast. And I was like, get out. That's so strange. Just this morning, I was thinking I needed to start my podcast, not to build my business, but because I really just want to spread goodness. I want to encourage people to live their good story and interact with other people that I really admire and interview them about their good story and how they got started, and just help other people start their good story. And then at the end of that podcast, she announced that she was actually doing a course on how to start a podcast. And I thought, okay, this is just too coincidental. I guess it's time for me to start a podcast. And so I have enrolled in her course because I don't know if you guys feel this way sometimes, but when you feel like you are inspired to do something or you want to move forward on something, and then all of a sudden you're like, but, and all these fears kind of pile on top of you, but I don't know how to do it. What if nobody listens? What if nobody likes it? What if? And I was starting to kind of have those feelings as I was feeling this push towards starting the podcast. And I thought, okay, wait, I've got somebody now that I admire, that I respect, that's doing a really great job on her own podcast. And she's going to hold my hand through this process. Hallelujah. It came, Mason, it came. You gonna see? Got my package. So excited. So excited. Look at Belle. Poor Belle. She's like running into the camera. Let's see what we got. The Blue Yeti microphone. And a microphone cover. Because nobody likes those weird little noises. Some headphones for when I'm doing interviews, so then we don't get that weird feedback. Here is a microphone and an arm so I can get cozy and go like this, or sit over here, or sit over there. Okay, let's go set it up, babe. Belle's gonna be the first interview. Oh, hi. Yes. She's such a lover but it's kind of hard for her to get in where she wants to be loved. She's got her thrown on. Huh. It's hard for her to get the love she needs while she's got the cone of shame. Okay, my friends, this is where we will be podcasting from. It's a really large room, so hopefully it won't be too echoey. But I got all my stuff down here, so we're gonna start opening everything up and setting it up. And I've been working on my intro and my outro for the podcast. And we're gonna test it out with the computer and all the equipment and see if it sounds good. Hello and welcome to the Living a Good Story podcast. I'm your host, Marissa Johnson. Testing, hello. Hello, this is Marissa with the Living a Good Story podcast. I'm excited! This means we can start recording. And I've picked out like 20 different songs that could possibly be part of the intro and the outro of the podcast. But I wanted to get the wording just right and record that and then play around with the different music, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but music plays a big part in YouTube channels and also in podcasts, and kind of creating that feel and that energy, what you're going to expect, and kind of sets the tone and the mood for the podcast.
Putin Katzen, Putin Katzen, Putin Katzen, Putin Katzen.
That's your rap?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Living a Good Story podcast. I'm here today with... It's not recording. Hello, I am your host, Marissa Johnson, and this is the Living a Good Story podcast. Today we have a very special guest. We have none other than the beautiful, intelligent, wonderful Madeline. Would you like to introduce yourself today?
Hi.
That's it? All right. Well, hi. So, Madeline, I want to know what you think a good story is.
Well, like when you're having a lot of fun and your life is just good.
And your life is good? Okay. I like that. So, Madeline, how old are you?
I'm 10.
You're 10 years old, so you've got 10 years of life experience. That's a lot of years, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of years.
Make sure you come and hit.
You don't have
me
to yell.
up.
See how it's going top to bottom there?
VIP tickets.
Yell.
VIP tickets, man. You all get to meet me.
Or maybe we just turn the volume down.
That's my good story.
When Reese is on. Good story. Bella wants to tell her good story.
My good story.
So with podcasts, you need to have podcast art so that when somebody looks for your podcast, they can see, oh yeah, that's the one, or they're searching other podcasts, they will see kind of like the cover of a book. They'll say, oh, I want to listen to that, or I want to read that book. But with a podcast, it would be, I want to listen to that podcast. So I went on Fiverr. I paid to have somebody make my podcast art. Let me show it to you, see if I can find it. And I was just kind of like, I mean, it's fine, but it just isn't really doing anything for me. So now I paid $25 for that, and I was so excited because I didn't have to come up with it on my own. But I'm not super happy with it, so I'm now designing my own. So this is what I paid for, and it just kind of feels a little bit generic to me. So since I didn't love it, I decided that maybe I wanted a picture of myself on there. So, but I don't want to pay for a photographer, and I don't really have time to hire a photographer and have them edit the pictures and all that. So I just went out with my iPhone and a tripod, and I took my green chair that's in my front room out into the weeds in my backyard, and I did a photo shoot. So I will show you what I am working with now and just kind of playing around with. I'm not sure if it's the picture I'm going to use, but we'll see. Okay, so this is kind of the concept that I'm working on right now. We'll see if it sticks. And I really like this picture, but my camera was all dirty like the screen on my phone was all dirty. And so the colors, it's like really washed out. And I guess it can just look like that as the style, but I don't know. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna go with. Side by side, which one would you be more interested in listening to? Today I'm working on my intro and my outro for the podcast. So that's like the pre-recorded part that's at the beginning, the intro, obviously. And outro is the pre-recorded with music that just kind of like finishes it up and like, thank you for listening to the Living a Good Story podcast. And it's harder to pick music than you would think because I had it all recorded and then I picked music and put it to it and then sent it out to a couple of people. And then I was like, listening to it again, I'm like, this is too suspenseful. And then feedback came. Yes, too suspenseful. I feel like I'm in a pirate chase. Also, it takes a bajillion times to record it because one time I was like, hello and welcome to the Living a Good Story podcast. Hello, friends. Welcome. And should I say friends? Okay, see, now we have to start over again. Friends or no friends? I'm kind of thinking just hello. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to the Living a Good Story podcast, where we believe you have a unique purpose. I'm your host, Marissa Johnson, and this is the Living a Good Story podcast. What'd you think? Good? I'm about to record my very first podcast. I've done the intro and the outro, but I got like try after try after try to make sure it sounded right and I didn't sound like an idiot. And now I'm doing an interview live. And obviously it's not going to post the podcast live. I get to edit it, but I don't get to try it over and over and over and over and over again. And so that's a little bit nerve-wracking. But I did choose my very best friend, Megan Norb, to be my very first person to interview because we talk so naturally and we talk all the time anyways. And so it won't be weird and I won't be uncomfortable, but I still am a little bit nervous. We're supposed to start in 3 minutes and I think I've got all my equipment set up the way I'm supposed to, but I just have to get started. I just have to do it and jump in. I don't know what I don't know until I actually do it. So I'm excited. Oh, I do have a fan going. Thanks for reminding me. Is that better? Here, I've got a blanket right here. Un momento, por favor. It does seem way echoey. See, does that help at all? Okay. All right, we're gonna record under a blanket. Just got done with my interview with Megan, so my very first podcast is recorded. It probably won't be the first episode, but it's the very first one that I recorded, and it was so easy. Megan is just like a dream to talk to. She is super powerful and really interesting, and so I'm excited about it. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized behind it. I'm feeling power behind this podcast. I'm really excited for you guys to be able to listen to this episode because it's really informative and empowering and powerful. So excited. We did it. We have a podcast and I'm really happy. This is like a weird emotion for me to have because this is something that I've wanted to do for a couple years. It's been like on my mind for a couple years. And then, sorry, sunlight is hitting me weird. And then about 10 months ago, I like geared up. I got tons of stuff ready to do this podcast. I had a ton of stuff lined up and life like knocked me down. And I was like, I'm out, not doing a podcast. And then you guys know that a couple weeks ago, just recently, I put podcast back up on my vision board right there. And then and everything just kind of fell into place with the Goddess Ceremony podcast, her advertising, that she will walk you through this whole process of building a podcast. And I was like, that's exactly what I need, because I just needed someone to take me step by step and cheer me on, make it super simple for me, and just walk me through the process, hold my hand. That's what I needed, because I was feeling a little bit weary. I was feeling a little bit nervous about doing it on my own. Now I've got it up and I've got major butterflies in my stomach, feeling like I just totally put myself out there. And it shouldn't be any different than YouTube. I'm putting myself out there for YouTube, but it's a different arena. And it's not something that I've done before. So I've got like a emotional headache. I was up late last night trying to get the first episode up, which I'm behind schedule on that because iTunes takes like a week to approve. So the episode won't even be on iTunes, which is, kind of a big deal. iHeartradio takes a long time to approve it. So really it's on Podbean where I'm hosting. And then it's also on, it's on Spotify. So you can find it on those two places, but that's really it right now. And I have 9 whole listens so far. Thank you, family, for supporting me. But I guess I just felt like I would be like on top of the world, but I'm kind of feeling like, whoa, what have I done? What has happened? But I'm super grateful that I was able to walk through the process with spiritual podcasting. And I will put that in the video description if that's something, if you're interested in doing a podcast, I would recommend having her walk you through it. It's a paid course that you would have to take, but she does a great job of simplifying everything without dumbing it down and just making you feel like, oh yeah, I can totally do this. So it's up. I have a podcast. I have 1 episode of me solo. That's the first podcast episode. And the second one is an interview with Megan. And you see all these blankets. I figured out like everything has to be wrapped with blankets and a blanket over me and blanket on the table in order for it not to sound echoey. So Bill came to say, you got this, girl. You got this, girl, huh? No more kisses. No more kisses. Good girl. I almost forgot. The most important step is we get to take this off the vision board because I officially have a podcast. I officially have 2 episodes up, and I have 1 other that's recorded. And my goal was to have all 3 up by the time I put this video up, but it is, what time is it? It's like 2:30 your time, my time, 2:30 my time. And I still have to edit this video and put it up. And I'm not going to have a 3rd episode for you guys to listen to just yet, but I will be posting podcasts every Thursday. But so here we go. We're going to take this down. We're going to do a little celebration dance, even though I'm feeling like exhausted. Yay. And we're going to put it in my celebration journal, which is over here on the other side of my office. And we're going to put it in here because these are all the things that I'm learning to, that light is really harsh. I am learning to celebrate my wins. And that's also a thing on my vision board, is that I'm going to try and get better about that and celebrating the things that I have done. This is now officially, I'll have to tape it in once I get off with you guys. But, yay, we have a podcast, you guys. We have a podcast. Okay, I'm going to go take a nap. But until next week, hope you have an amazing week. And I will see you on Monday.